Hey food lovers, if you have ever wondered how to make authentic mouth-watering Nigerian Moi Moi from scratch, you are in the right place. This rich steam bean pudding is a natural favorite, and today I'll be walking you through every step to get a perfect texture and unbeatable flavor of making Moi Moi. So let's start with the most important step of making this moi moi, which is washing and peeling the beans. So I am using 4 cups of black eye beans. But you can also use brown beans or any other beans of your choice. So before washing the beans, make sure you have hand-picked your beans and remove every possible dirt and stones out of the beans. Firstly, pour your beans into a bowl and add enough water to cover them. Let them soak for about 15 to 20 minutes. This will soften the skin and makes peeling much easier. So after soaking, it is time to remove the skin. Remember, there are 2 methods or different methods on how you can peel the back of your beans. Method 1 is by manual peeling by hand, just the way I am doing it, where you rub the beans in between your palms in a circular motion. The skin will start to peel off and float on the top. So add more water, swirl the bowl gently and pour off the skin. Repeat this process several times until most of the skin are gone. Then the method 2 is the blender pulse method. For a faster approach, drain and soak beans and pour them into a blender. So add enough water to cover the beans. Then on your blender, locate the pulse button. Remember, don't blend, just pulse 2 to 3 times. This helps loosen the skin without breaking the beans apart. Pour the beans back into a bowl and add water and stir continuously. The skin will rise to the top. Scoop out and pour them off and repeat until the beans is clean. When you are done, you should have a clean peeled beans ready for blending. The ingredients I'm going to be grinding together with the beans. The beans is really washed properly, as you can see here. So on here, here is the tartar sheet I'm going to be using, but some go ahead to add it like this, but I prefer removing the seed. So you can see this seed, I don't want it in mine, so I'll go ahead and take away all the seed before adding it into this bean and grind. So now that our beans are clean and peeled, it is time to blend everything into a smooth paste. So in a blender, add the peeled beans, 1 red bell pepper or tatashe for color and sweetness. You will also be needing 3 to 4 tablespoonfuls of crayfish. So guys, I'm going to be pouring this here because I want to take it to the commercial grinders to blend the beans. I don't want to stress my blender, so I just want it very fast. So I'm going to pour this in there. I'm going to be adding the peppers inside. So this is the Scotch bonnet pepper, while this is the tatashe pepper. I have removed all the seed. I don't want any of the seed inside because they sometimes tend to be bitter when you add them into your food. So I am only adding the tatashe, removing all the seed. The secret to making a very sweet moi moi is adding enough crayfish and onions. So if you get it right here, your moi moi is really going to taste nice. So I'm going to add those cut onions inside. I'm going to be adding the washed crayfish inside and take it to a commercial blender to help me grind this. So now that we have our bean grounded into a smooth mixture, it's time to build the flavors for the bean pudding. So to blend the spices, Add 2 to 3 seasoning cubes depending on the quantity of beans you are cooking. I am using 3 Knorr cubes for this bean pudding. Salt for taste. Additional tablespoonful of crayfish for extra flavor, but that is optional. A quarter cup of vegetable oil or palm oil depending on your preference. So guys, for easier mixing, I'm going to be transferring those moi moi inside here so I can be able to mix this really well. So at this point, mix the oil and the spices thoroughly together. The oil gives the moi moi its rich texture, while the seasoning brings it to life. At this point, check the consistency. It should be thick but pourable. If it's too thick, feel free to add a little more water but not too much. 1 to 1.5 cup is okay for the mixture, depending on the amount of water you add to the bean when blending. Then I'm going to be adding my salt. Please be careful with your salt. I'll go in with the vegetable oil. Then going in with extra water. So guys, I added this lasso chicken seasoning into the mixture. Sorry, I added it off camera. I'm going to mix this until I get the desired consistency I want. So this is just to mix in all the ingredients together. So while mixing, go ahead to check for salt and seasoning cube. Stir really well. If you have your mixer, you can use your mixer for this. I'm going to use my mixer and stir this properly. If you want to make this moi moi even extra special, now is the time to add any protein of your choice you desire. If you have your sardines in tomato sauce, corned beef, your Titus, or a shredded chicken, now is the time to add this. After mixing the moi moi and making sure every taste is in place, I'll get the containers ready for cooking the moi moi. Remember, you can cook those moi moi in different ways. You can cook this in a foil, you can cook using a plastic bag. You can also use traditional oma leaves to cook this. Whichever one you have access to, you can use them in wrapping up your moi moi. But for here, I'm using this aluminium plate to cook my moi moi. So now I'll carefully scoop the batter into my container, filling each one about 3/4 full, then leave room for expansion. But if you are using plastic bag, tie them securely to keep water out. For foil or leaves, fold or seal tightly so steam doesn't get out of the foil. So after scooping in the batter into each aluminum plate, I'll go ahead and add the hard-boiled egg into each of the plates. Then carefully cover the plate and set it aside for cooking. So now it's time to cook. Line the bottom of a large pot with foil or extra leaves to prevent burning in case you are using nylon or oma leaves. Place a steaming rack or small balls of foil to elevate the moi moi above the water. But for me, I'm not going to use any rack because my pot is too small to contain all the aluminum plates. So I want to make sure I cook them at once. But if you have this aluminum rack, please do not forget to use it. If you are not too sure of you getting things right, if you are going to mess things up, please make sure you use your rack to elevate the pot before adding in your plates or your moi moi wraps. So add enough water to the pot, but not too much. The water should stay below the moi moi level. Arrange all the containers or wraps inside. Cover the pot tightly and steam on medium heat for about 45 minutes to 1 hour. Always keep an eye on the water level. If it gets low, add more hot water carefully or water to the side to avoid soaking the moi moi. Okay, this is 15 minutes into cooking the moi moi and the moi moi is fully done. So at this point, I'm going to turn off the heat and let it sit for about 10 minutes to cool slightly. So while the moi moi is resting, it's still going to firm up a bit more. And that is it. Your authentic moi moi is ready. It is perfect with jollof rice, custard, pap, or even can be eaten on its own. It is very tasty and a filling snack. Give this recipe a try and let me know how it turned out in the comment section. So have you tried making moi moi before? Let me know how yours turned out on the comment section. What do you love eating your moi moi with? So if you have any question regarding this recipe, make sure you drop all of them on the comment section and I'll be attending to all of them one after the other. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on post notification for more delicious homemade Nigeria recipe and many juicy content on this page. Thanks for watching and I'll be seeing you guys on my next one.